You're watching E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to do our review for Gotham, the pilot episode. Very good show. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was definitely better than some of the reviews I had read, which weren't bad reviews, but they kind of gave it a lackluster feel. But I felt it was good. I felt it was a solid opening. Of course, it had its issues, and we'll get to that momentarily. Probably the first thing I saw in the show that I really liked was Gotham felt like Gotham. It was Gotham. It kind of just, I felt like I was kind of watching a movie at times. Not in terms of the action and what was going on with the characters, but I'm talking about the scenery was very Gotham to me, and I like that. So if you haven't seen the episode and you plan on seeing it, there will be spoilers, so just want to give you a little heads up before we move forward. So the show opens up, obviously, and everybody knows this if you've been keeping up with the show, with Bruce Wayne's and the murder of his parents. And while that's not the direct opening, obviously the direct opening was Selina Kyle mugging people as she was walking through Gotham. But she witnessed the murder, which I would have to assume, now that I've seen the whole episode, I would have to assume that that's going to come back and play a certain role, especially considering that the second episode is titled Selina Kyle. Because right outside of that, she really didn't have much of anything to do with the show. They showed her in random spots, just kind of being here, being there, kind of being an observer of sorts. So that's pretty much how the show started. As I said, I already touched on the scenery. I thought was very good. And then we get, shortly after that, we get a chance to meet Jim Gordon, and he is a rookie detective. And his partner is someone named Harvey Bullock. And before I heard his last name, I thought, when they first said his name Harvey, I'm like, oh, wow, is that really Harvey Dent? But then they said Bullock, and I'm like, oh, okay, not Harvey Dent. But the show was solid. It was a solid opening. I thought Jada Pinkett Smith was great, and it's so nice to see her. Boy, she looks good for her age, huh? Well, she does not age, boy. She still looks like she did back in Jason's Lyric, for those of you who remember that movie. The only difference is she didn't have the jerry curls in the show, but she really looks good for her age. But I thought she did a good job. I really like her character. I really like that conflict of interest going on because, Harvey Bullock in the show kind of takes that, we use the little fish to go after the bigger fish. And not to say that Fish Mooney is a little fish. No pun intended there. I just realized that. But, she obviously is not on the level of Falcone. While she works, obviously she works for him, but because of the relationship that Bullock has with Fish, he's able, at least it appears in the outset, he's able to get some information that he might need, that other detectives otherwise wouldn't get because they don't have that same rapport. And obviously Gordon questions this because Gordon comes out right by the book. He's by the book, just like any typical cop trying to make his way into the department. And he's very, very, uncomfortable. And you can clearly see that when they have their first encounter with Fish in her club, as she and a bunch of her goons are in the alley beating the shit out of somebody who owes her money. What I like about the character as well is that she gets involved in the beating. She doesn't just stand back. Fish is a tough cookie, and no better person to play her than Jada Pinkett Smith. So very, very happy with that portion of the show. I do like Ben McKenzie as Jim Gordon so far. He just has that, I just liked him. It's only been one show, so probably won't be able to pinpoint the certain things that I like about him just yet. But from what I've seen thus far in this episode, I like him as Jim Gordon so far. I think he did a fine job, and I like the fact that his character is very strong, very stern. He's very, he has strong convictions in what he believes in. He's going to do the right thing no matter what. And that was evident at the end of the show, when he decided not to kill Cobblepot. And we'll get to that in a minute. So, but anyway, the big theme of this show was investigating the murder of the Wayne parents, Bruce Wayne's parents. And within this investigation, you start to unravel already the corruption that has taken over Gotham. And it really sets the stage for some of the things you can expect going forward. I mean, they really, to me at least, they really dove deep right in the first episode. There's nothing in this episode that, I mean, it sets up for what we're going to see coming forward, but there's no, for lack of a better term, setup for the setup. In other words, you knew by the end of the episode what was going on. You knew that. There was no cliffhanger going into the next episode as to what's the answer to this question. And blatantly, the the problem is corruption. It's corruption. I mean, Harvey is corrupted, and you know, a lot of the police department is very corrupted. And him being the rookie, the first episode was, is the rookie on board or not? And Gordon made his decision by the end of the episode. So basically what happens is, we all know if you saw the show, Harvey gets involved in what turns out to be a setup of the Wayne murder. The man that they found and were going to capture, but eventually had to kill, Harvey ended up shooting the suspect because he was about to stab Gordon while Gordon was chasing him down. It was a nice little chase scene. I do question, being a big man myself, I do question how a man so large actually outran Gordon, but that's okay. We know it's for TV. You know, it's not believable, but we get it. I get that. So we'll let that one slide. But no way should a man that size be route running a military. Yes, he was an army boy. That's what they called him. A military personnel turned, detective. So that was a little bit unbelievable, but that's okay. We'll roll with it. So, and they get into a little scuffle in the alley when when Gordon finally catches up to him, and the suspect had a knife, went to stab him. His name was Peppers, by the way. And Harvey shot him dead. And at this point, you believe they found the suspect. And later, it turns out that Oswald Cobblepot confesses to the MCU unit that the pearls were with Fish, and that she could have been involved in planting them in Pepper's apartment. And the lady from the MCU basically visits Gordon's wife, or wife-to-be rather, named Barbara, and confesses to her that Gordon may be involved in setting up Peppers, who did not kill the Wayne family. And this is what starts the good stuff to me. Obviously, Barbara, being in a long relationship with her soon-to-be husband, Jim, believes him the minute he says that he didn't set him up. He was oblivious to the whole thing, basically. It was all set up by Harvey, who is obviously, in cahoots with the mob as well as other law enforcement. We don't get into that, though, but they make that very clear that there's corruption. And, and Harvey's an interesting character because, the reason he did it is because since the Waynes are so, there's such a big name in the city, they're very powerful, the public would want a quick response and a quick end to the investigation. So rather than go through a slew of so many different profiles as to what happened or who could have done it, they picked a scapegoat and they used him, and that ended the investigation and made the two cops look like heroes. And Gordon wasn't going to stand for that. He wasn't going to stand for it. He wanted to find out who the real murderer was because he does the right thing. Strong convictions. So, but at the same time, and once he confronts Fish about this, Fish takes him captive and is ready to pretty much chop him up in a meat locker. But Harvey comes to, I don't want to say save the day. I mean, obviously he's doing it for a multitude of reasons. Not that he wasn't trying to save Jim, but he was also trying to save his own ass. So they both end up hung up in the meat locker, ready to be chopped up, when Falcone comes in and basically kind of saves them. And then Falcone reveals to Jim that him and his father had a good relationship. Whether or not this is true or it's just Falcone trying to set up Jim to be like one of his cronies remains to be seen. But he basically tells him that him and his father had a great relationship, and that while, he is part of organized crime, he still wants he wants things to be played by the rule. He doesn't want to just start killing cops because it's going to cause an issue for him. He doesn't want Harvey to go and rat out everybody to City Hall because, and it's funny because when Falcone told him this, it made perfect sense. He told him, how can you have law and order if you're going to take down City Hall, the law enforcement, and then the mob? You're not going to have order. And he's right. Things would fall apart overnight. I mean, we actually kind of saw that happen in the Batman movies. So, but it was a fantastic show. So finally we get to this end where Falcone wants Jim to prove himself, and Harvey and Jim take a drive out to the pier. Harvey reveals to Jim that he has Oswald Cobblepot, who is, of course, as we all know, the Penguin, in the trunk because he was the snitch. He was the one that confessed to the MCU as to who had the pearls. And the deal was, if you take Cobblepot to the end of this pier and shoot him and dump him in the river, then we know you're on board. And then Harvey tells him, but if you don't, I have to take him and you out. And he convinces, at least it appears, convinces Jim to do that. And then Jim walks him down to the end of the pier. And if you watch it, you all know that he made it appear that he shot Cobblepot, but he didn't. And he dumped him in the river. And that's pretty much the end of the show. So very good show. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I really want to see what's going to happen in the next episode. I thought it was a strong opening for a pilot. I tend to have low expectations for pilots, but this one was actually very good. And it set up some good stuff that I think can come down the road. Oh yeah, Bruce Wayne. So Bruce Wayne's in this too. Maybe that's a good thing that I didn't, almost forgot him, because that's the one key about this show that kind of was a bit of a kind of concern for me is, can this show stand on its own 2 feet without the Cape Crusader leading the way? I think it has the potential to do that. And, I think the cast they have is pretty strong. Again, Jada Pinkett Smith for me was the steal of the show. Selena Kyle this episode does not do anything but linger around and observe. So to me, that kind of had a negative effect, but I understand why they did it. I think she's going to play a pivotal role in the investigation of the Wayne shooting down the road, because she did witness them get killed. So we'll see what happens with her. We did get a little cameo by the Riddler, aka Edward Nygma, as he apparently works for forensics. So we saw him. We saw the obviously we saw the Penguin, Bruce Wayne, Jim Gordon, Falcone. We saw like I said, Catwoman, Selena Kyle. So everybody got a little cameo. Cobblepot seemed to be the more realized, for lack of a better term, villain from the Batman universe. He seems like he's going to have an immediate impact on the show. Because if you saw the coming attractions for the next episode, he obviously is, he goes on a bit of a spree. So we're going to see what happens there. But overall, I thought it was a very good opening for the show. I definitely enjoyed it. I like the whole cop detective thing. Gotham looks wonderful. It looks very much the feel of Gotham. What you would think Gotham should look like, it looks like, at least in my opinion. And I think the show has a good opportunity. Hopefully they build from this, and we'll see what happens. So how did you like Gotham? Did you watch it? What did you think? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you enjoy it? Did you think it was pretty good? Do you think it's not going to survive without Batman, or do you think it could stand on its own 2 feet with Jim Gordon leading the way? Let me know in the comments below. This is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. Don't forget to subscribe and join the Nation Facebook page.